You know the feeling. You're deep into an article, totally hooked, and then, bam, the paywall. It always seems to know the perfect moment to pop up, right when you're most invested. So, how does it do that? Is it just random, or is there something way, way smarter going on behind the scenes?
I mean, it's a question we've all probably asked ourselves. It feels so personal, almost like it's reading your mind. Well, it turns out it's not magic. It's machine learning. So let's dive in and see how the New York Times built an algorithm that does exactly that.
And calling it a war, that really hits the nail on the head. For decades, this has been the big, invisible battle online. Publishers trying to fund their journalism versus all of us who want free access to information. It's a conflict that has forced publishers to get incredibly clever. To really understand the sophisticated paywalls we see today, we've got to go back in time and look at the early battles in this great paywall war. And let's just say the first attempts were, well, a little clumsy. This all started way back in 1996. The Wall Street Journal actually had some success with a hard paywall, the kind where you can't read a single word without paying up. But for most other publications, that approach was a total disaster. The Los Angeles Times learned that the hard way. The real game changer was the soft, or metered paywall, pioneered by the Financial Times. The idea was to let you sample the goods before asking you to buy. A 97% drop in users. That isn't just a failure. That's a full-blown catastrophe. It sent a massive signal to the entire industry. A blunt, one-size-fits-all wall was never, ever going to work. There had to be a smarter way. And that smarter way was the metered model, which the New York Times adopted back in 2011. This wasn't just a small tweak. It was the beginning of a strategy that would completely transform their business from being ad-focused to subscription-first. And the difference is just night and day. A hard paywall is a locked door. A soft, metered paywall, though, that's like a free sample. It lets you try the product, get a feel for the quality, and hopefully build a reading habit. It's also way better for search engines, and critically, it doesn't just scare away every potential customer from the get-go. And has it worked? Oh yeah, big time. The Times smashed through 10 million subscribers in 2022, and now they're gunning for 15 million. You just don't get that kind of growth by accident. You get it by obsessively fine-tuning every single step of the process. Which brings us to the core challenge. The New York Times has two goals that are constantly fighting each other. They want you to read as much as possible because that builds a habit. But they also need you to subscribe. This is the great engagement trade-off. So what they do is guide users down what's called a subscription funnel. You start as a casual, unregistered reader. Then they ask for a tiny commitment, just a free registration. This is a classic foot-in-the-door technique. Once you're registered, you're psychologically one step closer to becoming a full-on paying subscriber. And this is that constant balancing act they have to perform. If they give away too many free articles, they get great engagement, but their conversions, the actual signups, will tank. But if they're too aggressive with the paywall, they might get more subscriptions short-term, but they risk annoying readers and stopping them from ever forming that crucial habit. This right here is the multi-million-dollar dilemma. It's a complete tightrope walk. And to solve it, you can't use a one-size-fits-all approach. You need something that can adapt to every single user, individually. So how do you walk that tightrope for millions of different readers all at once? Well, you build an AI to do it for you. The New York Times needed to predict that perfect moment for each person, and so they built a machine learning model to do exactly that. It's called the dynamic meter. Instead of giving everyone, say, 5 free articles a month, the dynamic meter decides on the perfect number just for you. So for one person, it might be 3 articles, but for another, it could be 7. It's totally personalized. But this creates a huge technical challenge, what's known as the missing data problem. Think about it. They can show you the paywall after 5 articles and see if you subscribe, but what they can never know is what you would have done if they'd shown it to you after 10 articles instead. You can only live one history. The model has to predict that alternate reality. So here's how they do it. They essentially built 2 models that work together as a team. The first one, the converter, is focused on one thing, predicting how likely you are to subscribe. The second model, the engager, predicts how much stuff you're likely to read. The system then takes the outputs from both of these and combines them to make its final decision. So what does it know about you to make these predictions? Well, it's all based on your behavior on the site, how often you visit, what topics you're into, whether you're a skimmer or a deep reader. And what's really important here is what the model doesn't use. Any demographic data like your age or gender. that's to avoid creating unfair biases. So they have this powerful predictive engine. But the real genius isn't just in predicting what you're going to do, it's in how they use those predictions to steer their entire business strategy.
They created a master control they call the delta parameter. You can think of it like a single tuning knob. This one number tells the entire system what the company's main priority is at any given moment, subscriptions or engagement.
If the business goal for the month is to grow the top of the funnel and just get more people reading, they can turn that dial closer to 0. The model then prioritizes engagement and starts giving out more free articles. But if the goal is to hit a specific subscription target, they crank the dial closer to 1 and the paywall gets a little bit tighter. It gives them precise, real-time control. And of course, you don't just unleash a powerful model like this without testing it first. They use a process called backtesting, where they run the model on past data to see how it would have performed. This ensures it works just as expected before it ever interacts with a single live user. And the results really do speak for themselves. For the exact same number of new subscribers, the dynamic meter is able to generate significantly more overall readership and engagement than a random policy would. It's the very definition of having your cake and eating it too.
So the next time you hit that paywall, you'll know it's not really a wall at all. It's a carefully calibrated, personalized question asked at a moment that was predicted just for you. And it leaves us with a bigger question. As this kind of technology gets better and more widespread, are we heading towards a future where nothing online is one size fits all?